Pro Football Today, live on SportsGrid. Joe Lisi, Kevin Walsh. We are live out in London. Jaguars, Rams, 21-0 LA. That game is on pause right now. It's at half. We're going to talk a little Eagles-Vikings. And yes, there's a lot to get to with Philadelphia, but there is a little bit of breaking news coming out of Minnesota this morning, Joe. Some very interesting news. Adam Schefter of ESPN is reporting that for J.J. McCarthy, he thinks a Week 9 return against the Detroit Lions is what we should all expect.
Okay.
Here's the problem with the reporting from Schefter. And I know he is the biggest reporter in the world, but unfortunately that means that we all see the tweets, and the tweets are there, and we can go back to them whenever we want. So the most recent Adam Schefter tweet reads, when Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy suffered a Week 2 high ankle sprain, doctors expected it to be a 6-week injury. Nothing has changed. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because when J.J. McCarthy went down with the injury, Adam Schefter tweeted, sources, Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy is expected to be sidelined 2 to 4 weeks with a high ankle sprain. If you have a player who is expected to miss 6 weeks, you put that player on IR. Really simple.
Right.
It's a 4-week stint. You're never playing him. So somebody is lying. Somebody watched the first-round quarterback and went, "Woo, that's bad. Oh, that's real bad." And then put in a professional in Carson Wentz and went, "Well, that looks a lot better." And they decided, "Hey, Carson, if we put enough Band-Aids and glue, can we hold you upright for just a little bit longer?" "Oh, we can?" "Yeah, it was always 6 weeks for J.J. McCarthy." No, it wasn't. When the McCarthy injury, which, by the way, he played until the last snap of the game against the Falcons, and then all of a sudden on, Monday, they're like, "Yeah, he's going to be out for 2 to 4 weeks. We don't really know." Immediately, it was weird. And now, this reporting, which attempts to scream McCarthy's not getting benched, they don't prefer Wentz, no, is basically confirming, Joe, they're sticking with Wentz because Wentz has been much better than what they got out of their first-round draft pick of 2 years ago, 10th overall, J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah.
Am I being unfair?
No, they got 2 wins with him, right? Carson Wentz, and he put up 350 in the loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? He's getting the football to the playmakers, and that's all that matters, is can you deliver the football, a la Joe Flacco, to the most important player on your offense, which is Justin Jefferson, and all of the playmakers around them like Jordan Addison. And if you can do that, you're going to have a job in the NFL. And the one thing that J.J. McCarthy did was he did it in the first game in the fourth quarter. That's all well and good, but he followed it up getting abused by the Atlanta Falcons and potentially getting hurt, right? And this is it. O'Connell's dealt with injuries now in back-to-back years. He saw McCarthy go down last year, and he saw Sam Darnold had one of his most prolific passing years in his career, which led Sam Darnold to the Seattle Seahawks. 35 touchdowns. 4,000 yards. I mean, come on. I mean, are you going to get that with J.J. McCarthy? Absolutely not. At least at this point in his career, he doesn't have enough game experience. He looks like a deer in the headlights at particular points against better competition. And Carson Wentz is good enough at this point with that defense to potentially carry you to a wild card. And that's all that O'Connell wants at this point.
But I just want to be very clear about something.
But they could have. Let me just say this.
Go ahead.
If Carson Wentz now is, because what are they, 3-2 entering this game?
Yeah.
They somehow, some way win today. They're 4-2.
Yep.
He's not giving back the job.
But here,
no shot.
No, but Joe, that's why they're Okay. You guys know I have a soft spot for Wentz. It's clear as day watching him in these games. He is either going to throw away the starting job or get injured.
He's like Jameis.
Yeah. Okay.
Meaning go big or go home.
The next two games are against Philly and on the road against LA. Two teams that they are going to be dogs against. And the thought probably in that building is they are going to lose one or two of those games, and it'll be easier to get JJ the ball back. But Carson Wentz has come in. His passer rating looks all right at a 99.5. But, Joe, and again, I bring these numbers up it's just all relative context. Carson Wentz right now has a 40.5 QBR. There are only, if you look right now, that is 28th of qualifying quarterbacks. The lowest QBR of any qualifying quarterback is Cam Ward, 25.1. J.J. McCarthy's a 22.7. He was awful. And that fourth quarter magic that everybody thought, was going, oh, look, what a gutty win against the Bears. Yeah, that was nice, okay? But it was fluky. And that was made clear in the game against the Falcons. And this is a Minnesota Vikings team that I've said this for a long time now. They have made it clear at every turn they've not liked what they've seen from McCarthy. When they had Darnold there and drafted JJ, it wasn't a guarantee that Darnold was going to start. JJ was going to be in line for a competition. Right. Darnold won the job before the JJ injury. Then, with the Darnold was going to command big money, Darnold, all those terrible playoff games, it wasn't a guarantee that, it should have been obvious they were going to go to JJ McCarthy. They were in negotiations with Sam Darnold. Darnold leaves to go to Seattle. They didn't run to tell everybody, don't worry, JJ McCarthy's the guy. They were looking around at the Aaron Rodgers potential.
Right.
This is a team who are like, no, they're going to stick with JJ. We got that word in March. Post Darnold was gone. And then this. I just, and you why am I harping on it? It's not because I dislike JJ McCarthy. It's because there's dishonesty out there.
Right.
I'm sorry, there's no other way to call it. The same person who reported it's a 2 to 4 week injury is now saying 6-week injury, just like we've known the entire time. Interesting. That's the first time you've reported that.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
Well, again, I think the team is, and maybe O'Connell has a huge part in this, in is going and saying, listen, we need Carson Wentz to be our starting quarterback because we're not going to go anywhere at this point with J.J. McCarthy. And again, you see Justin Jefferson being fed the football. The addition now of Addison, they have their two big play wide receivers. They can ultimately dictate the similar type of success that they had last year with Darnold. You need it. I keep telling you, when you have elite wide receiver talent,
right,
you have to have that point guard, that facilitator, like Flacco. And it doesn't matter that they're old. Can you keep them upright, and can you go and read coverage? And that's what Wentz is doing. Doesn't matter that he could be washed up at this point in his career. As long as you protect him, he's good enough to know I have to get the football to number 18. When J.J. McCarthy's back there, he's like a deer in the headlights, and that's the difference.
And there's two levels to this for Minnesota, right? There's what are we going to do this season? Like you said, 3-2. I think the result today against Philadelphia, we're about to break that game down next, is going to determine a lot of that, of how they feel, how high they can go, and a very good right now NFC North of it all. But there is also what is this team going to do in the offseason? Because they have been looking and searching for a quarterback, and their hope when they drafted J.J. McCarthy is he was going to be the answer. So far, that doesn't feel like the case, and they're going to have to do something because this is a team who's poured resources in.
Yep.
It's a little Niners-esque. They've poured a lot of resources in everywhere else. They need a quarterback now that can just do enough almost, but they'd love to lift them up another level. They're still searching, I think, for both levels of answers, really, in Minnesota. It's going to be Wentz against his old team who needs a win badly. We break down Vikings-Eagles Week 7 action next.
Well, the best part about it is that they're just going about handling their business. I was listening to Arvell Reese and his literally like 5-word sentences about himself and some of the things that Caleb has been talking about. The dudes are just so locked in here about just doing their job and not worrying about all of the other things and awards. They know all those happen when you go win and you win decisively.
The Bobby Carpenter Show, only on SportsGrid.
Baker Mayfield is the most important player on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they are in first place right now, looking dead in the eye of home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They played a bad division. They're going to win a lot of games, and they're the best fourth quarter team, or at least the 2-minute warning team in all football. So, don't sleep on that.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Awesome and monumentous win against Oregon. Texas has saved their season. Texas has given themselves life to potentially crash the college football playoff party. For OU, a loss to Texas shouldn't be the end of your season. And yet with that remaining schedule, it feels like it could be. Books certainly pricing it that way. A lot of movement off of the Red River rivalry.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Paige or Caitlin? Who do you take and why?
I think for the WNBA, in a sense where they're moving toward more guards when it's been very post and big heavy in the past. But there's a reason why Caitlin Clark set all those records at college and then went into the WNBA and set all those records immediately. I really do think she's just a different level talent.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
All right, back with you right here on Pro Football Today. Joe, let's talk really now about what we are expecting from Minnesota and Philadelphia. A line between 1.5 and 2.5, depending where you look. Total right now, sitting 43.5, 44 in places. We handled a lot of the Minnesota side again because there's some news out of there today around J.J. McCarthy. But all eyes really will be on the defending Super Bowl champions who have now lost 2 in a row. The offensive rhythm is not there, specifically on the ground. Saquon Barkley's struggles have been jarring, really, when you compare him to, year-over-year production. Landon Dickerson expected, I think, back for this one today, which is good news for Philadelphia. What are you expecting here in Vikings-Eagles?
Consistency from the Eagles. And I mean, consistency, the professionalism that they had last year in that Super Bowl run. And I want to see the defense really make a statement today. Again, you have an immobile quarterback in Carson Wentz, aging. I'm not sold on the rushing attack with Jordan Mason and those staple of backs. This is a get-right game potentially for Philadelphia, and I understand it's on the road, but you have to start to build an identity again. And what I mean by an identity is running the football consistently with Saquon Barkley, having Jalen Hurts utilize his legs instead of throwing it 45 times to Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, and when you build a lead, close the door. And we haven't seen that yet. We talked about it, and I thought they were the best team on paper, certainly heading into the year. I still honestly believe that, but they have a locker room problem right now. I've said that. They don't care about winning games and getting back to the prize. It's all about individual accolades that A.J. Brown and this team now have built, and we've seen players check in and check out. Now with Jalen Carter back, hopefully for this game, the identity comes back, and it starts today. But again, the 2.5 under a key number, I can only look the Eagles. Yeah. I do like the over 43.5, but again, what is Brian Flores and what is that team going to do? They're going to blitz, right? I don't think they're going to allow Jalen Hurts to just sit back, survey the field.
Right.
I think they're going to bring it, make them uncomfortable. What does that mean? That means one-on-one coverage on the outside. I took Jalen to have a big day on the ground, 40, 50 plus because of man-to-man coverage. Let's see if we can put him into long third downs. I'm expecting Jalen to take this game over with his legs, which should open up everything for that offense today.
So I think you will see Hurts involved in the ground game, but to me, it runs through Saquon today. You have a Minnesota team, as you said, who they blitz a lot. They're very opportunistic in terms of their pass defense, and you are better off trying to hit them on the ground. Saquon Barkley is in a situation, Joe, that we've not seen since he's joined the Philadelphia Eagles. In his last 2 games, he has 18 carries combined. For Saquon Barkley, he had at least 18 carries in every single game prior to the 2-week stretch. For Saquon Barkley, when you remove the last 2 games, in his regular season career as an Eagle, he averages over 21 carries a game. And here we are now with an Eagles group that's looking for answers. The answers start with 26, looking like one of the best players in the league, which is what he looked like all of last season, and I think he will look like again today. But I am more confident in him getting that opportunity than delivering, admittedly. What I mean by that is I'm on Saquon Barkley rush attempts instead of rush yards. Not that I don't think the yards are a good play or that he can't get there, but it starts with a workload, Joe, that is just mandatory for the Philadelphia Eagles in this game. It all depends if he breaks one, but I wouldn't be surprised if Saquon Barkley had 8 to 10 carries on the opening drive of the Philadelphia Eagles for this game, truly.
We talked about last week with Derrick Henry in that spot, right? How critical he was to that team to potentially be within margin against the LA Rams, right? And we hit that. I agree with you. When you go on the road, right, in a tough environment, this is not going to be an easy game.
Yeah.
You want to establish the run. Running the football and playing sound defense always travels well into road environments. And we know that they've been pass happy in the first part of the season. They went on the road to New York. Jalen Hurts didn't utilize his legs. Saquon was shut down. They lost a turnover battle, and they got blown out.
Yeah.
Right? What do you do in back-to-back road games? They have had extra time to think about it. Get back to running the football. Get back to the offensive line continuity. Short to intermediate throws. We don't have to go, and then that opens up everything else. But, again, they need to have a run-heavy approach in this matchup, in my opinion, right? Yep. Whether it be Saquon, to your point, or Jalen, to open up everything else. Because we know Minnesota's not going to – they're going to limit big plays. They're going to limit chunk passing game, just the way they did in multiple games. You could maybe hit them once or twice, but I don't think it's going to be there on a consistent basis.
The one thing, and we're going to talk to Doc about this in a little bit here on our show, that I was a little surprised by, but I think it'll. I think if I'm, it grades out the same way for Doc. Like I start just looking through the basic injury reports. Obviously at SixScore.com, they know it well. Philly, the healthier team. I thought Minnesota, off of a full bye week, would be more improved. It looks like that ground game for Minnesota, or just overall, offensive line, is just not where it was supposed to be.
No.
And Philly's getting back Landon Dickerson, likely Jalen Carter. Quinyon Mitchell likely going to go here as well. The one thing we haven't talked about, and we probably should, is what does Justin Jefferson bring to the table here? Because he has 249 receiving yards in his last 2 games. This could just be another major, major day from one of the league's best.
Yeah, again, we'll see exactly how they attack Philly in this matchup. I think here's the thing. We watched this game play out against Cleveland last week, right? When we watched Carson Wentz, and they looked out of sync. And that defense for Cleveland brought it, right? And they got to Carson Wentz. He comes out of the halftime, and all of a sudden, in the second half, delivering the football to who? Number 18, right? They're finding ways to get it to him. I think he should have a big day today. I just don't like playing the premium and seeing how Addison at times has stepped up and taken away the limelight. You get better numbers with Addison. I think Hawkinson could be an added value today, tight end, just because if Philly's defense is going to bounce back after that pitiful effort against New York, take away the chunk plays, force Wentz to work down the field, and let's see if we can put him into predictable third downs and bury him. He was sacked. Carson Wentz's last time against the Eagles, 2022, with Washington, he made the start, sacked 9 times in that game. Just saying.
What a hero. What an absolute hero he is.
Look at this.
Jags are
pathetic.
I was just about to say, Jags looking good.
Yeah.
We're going to talk the return of Rashee Rice next.
Well, the best part about it is that they're just going about handling their business. I was listening to Arvell Reese and his literally like 5-word sentences about himself and some of the things that Caleb has been talking about. The dudes are just so locked in here about just doing their job and not worrying about all of the other things and awards. They know all those happen when you go win and you win decisively.
The Bobby Carpenter Show, only on SportsGrid.
Baker Mayfield is the most important player on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they are in first place right now, looking dead in the eye of home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They played a bad division. They're going to win a lot of games, and they're the best fourth quarter team, or at least the 2-minute warning team in all football. So, don't sleep on that.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Awesome and monumentous win against Oregon. Texas has saved their season. Texas has given themselves life to potentially crash the college football playoff party. For OU, a loss to Texas shouldn't be the end of your season. And yet with that remaining schedule, it feels like it could be. Books certainly pricing it that way. A lot of movement off of the Red River rivalry.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Paige or Caitlin? Who do you take and why?
I think for the WNBA, in a sense where they're moving toward more guards when it's been very post and big heavy in the past. But there's a reason why Caitlin Clark set all those records at college and then went into the WNBA and set all those records immediately. I really do think she's just a different level talent.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on SportsGrid. It is Pro Football Today. We are out in London, Lisi, with the Jags and the Rams. Let's get a little update for the people. A drive right now that has featured 3 Travis Hunter receptions. Jags in a 3rd and short. 4-down territory, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, have to come away with points. No field goals, touchdowns, cut the deficit. They're looking good right now. Defense has to make some plays if they get a touchdown and can get off the field. But right now, we talked about Travis Hunter being a bigger part of this offense. Forget the rushing attack with Tootin and Etienne unless they get into red zone opportunities. The rest of the way, trailing by 3 scores, has to be Trevor Lawrence. Look for a little tempo, and I think we could still get through this total. And the Rams can't be complacent. But again, Trevor Lawrence with these throws, he really is bad at times. He really is bad. I mean, he misses bad.
It's a bad miss. It's a bad miss. I still don't love the play, to be honest with you.
Look at this.
Like, I just feel on a 3rd and 2, like, why are we throwing to the outside? I know what. Listen, I'm not saying.
And the field is wet. It's a wet field.
Right.
Like, what are we doing?
But, Joe, again, like 3rd and 2, it's just like, listen, again, and it's 4-down territory. It's usually pretty simple, right? Run it, we'll probably get it, and if not, maybe we'll be able to sneak it. They have just not put themselves in good positions today.
Where is he throwing that football?
No, I'm sorry. De'Ami Brown who ran a route not knowing that they were going to, like, he was allowed to get the ball thrown his way.
I don't know.
Again, it's actually really funny because look at that, Joe. He's late putting his hands up. He's not. What route is he running?
I don't know.
It's a 4th and 2. He doesn't think the ball could come his way over the middle?
Look, guys seem checked out on Jacksonville. They just seem unemotional.
Right.
Offensively, doesn't look like they have any type of cohesiveness.
No.
They look like they want to go home. And, again, it's preparation in these spots. What were they catching pre-game 3.5?
Yeah, 3.5. The situational football, Joe.
Terrible.
It's been as bad as possible. It's really, really jarring from a coach that I think is good in Liam Cohen, at least, through the first 6 games plus his offensive coordinator stint. I cannot believe, and I will stress this again and again and again, but this is something that you and I, we've done a lot, these in-game situations, right? When it's in-game live, you have to, you're trying to be a play ahead. Liam Cohen is setting the Jags up for more difficult situations with his third down decision making.
Yes. So we always talk about they're in fourth down territory.
Yes.
Unless they get behind 28-0, they want to just wrap it up because we've seen coaches do that.
Right.
But as long as it's 3 scores or less, you got to believe it's fourth down territory on every drive, as long as you're past your 40-yard line, right? And you got to utilize tempo, and you have to try and put yourself in a position to win on fourth down if you have to take it, right? 4th and 2, 4th and 1. How are you going to get there? If you have a 3rd and 6, throwing deep isn't going to help you in any capacity. But we see it time and time again. It's a wet field. Players are having problems, especially in the rushing attack. Your defense is buckled up enough to at least give you multiple opportunities. You can't even come away with points.
No, and I mean, that is...
I mean, that's what I see. I see wide receivers not knowing where the quarterback's going with the football, running routes just for the sake of running routes. And again, the only player that looks dialed in right now is Travis Hunter.
To your point,
and Parker Washington for a little bit. Look at this
defense again. Like, where are his eyes? Where are his eyes? But Joe, to your point of the defense giving you a chance, right? So this show began with me betting Jacksonville plus 14.5, down 14-0 at the time covering, right? The defense against the Rams has had 4 defensive possessions. They've forced 3 and out on 3 of them.
Right.
Now, I know there's a touchdown in between there, but, like, listen, I didn't think, as you say, not going to win by a shutout. I didn't think that was the last time the Rams were ever going to score again. That's pretty good from a defense to bow up. 3 out of 4 possessions, you've now forced a 3 and out, and your offense, again, 3rd and 3, incomplete pass, 50-yard field goal. That's a mistake. 3rd and 7, incomplete pass, 4th and 7, we're going for it now, and it's a scramble that doesn't get there. 3rd and 2, incomplete pass, and it's set up for another incomplete pass. Trevor Lawrence isn't playing well. The running game can't get going. I understand that. I'm not saying that this all falls at the feet of Liam Cohen, but this has been a very poor job across the board here from Jacksonville. And for a team that's in a competitive division, you can't afford performances like this. We'll be right back. We're live on SportsGrid.
Oh, the best part about it is that they're just going about handling their business. I was listening to Arvell Reese and his literally like 5-word sentences about himself and some of the things that Caleb has been talking about. The dudes are just so locked in here about just doing their job and not worrying about all the other things and awards. They know all those happen when you go win and you win decisively.
The Bobby Carpenter Show, only on SportsGrid.
Baker Mayfield is the most important player on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they are in first place right now, looking dead in the eye of home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They played a bad division. They're going to win a lot of games, and they're the best fourth-quarter team, or at least the 2-minute warning team in all football. So don't sleep on that.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Awesome and monumentous win against Oregon. Texas has saved their season. Texas has given themselves life to potentially crash the college football playoff party. For OU, a loss to Texas shouldn't be the end of your season. And yet with that remaining schedule, it feels like it could be. Books certainly pricing it that way. A lot of movement off of the Red River rivalry.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Paige or Caitlin? Who do you take and why?
I think for the WNBA, in a sense where they're moving toward more guards when it's been very post and big heavy in the past. But there's a reason why Caitlin Clark set all those records at college and then went into the WNBA and set all those records immediately. I really do think she's just a different level talent.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
All right, live on SportsGrid, we've got a couple of pieces of news. We are going to break down Chiefs-Raiders in just a second. But for that game, Jacoby Myers out. That was one of the bigger inactives we weren't sure about, Joe, that is now confirmed. Stephon Diggs is up. DeAndre Swift active as well. Those were both projected. The other piece of news, though, Lisi, and we'll maybe get a little bit more from this from our NFL insider, Adam Kaplan, in about 30, 40 minutes. Brandon Graham, Philadelphia Eagle legend, is considering coming out of retirement to rejoin the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the word on this is the Eagles need pass rush help. Zadarius Smith, somewhat surprisingly, retired earlier this week, but an understandable, connection people will make is not just the Eagles needing pass rush help, but the uncertainty of this locker room maybe needing one of the great captains in this team's history. Just your quick reaction to the news that BG could be back.
I think it's good. I think if they're looking to stabilize everything, get back to a winning mentality, a professional mentality, I think Sirianni and the staff make a great, addition. If he's obviously in game shape, number one, he's doing broadcasting. And obviously I think he can definitely build with this front seven. I mean, especially when you have young talent like Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, and you have a veteran in that locker room to potentially mentor them and coach them up on the field as well. I don't think it's such a bad thing right now. We knew that this front seven was one of the most dominant in football. It was the main reason why, one of the reasons, they won a Super Bowl last year, because they battered Pat Mahomes. If they're going to get back to that level of play, they need that type of mentorship, and they need that type of intensity. And again, we saw Jalen Carter check out of the Giant game unexpectedly. So we don't really know what's going on. Only Sirianni and that staff do. So again, I think it could only be a benefit, even if he doesn't. Let's say he's 80% of the player that he was when he was there with the Eagles and he last suited up. My point is, he needs to be involved. There needs to be a veteran that steps up outside of the offense right now to help this team build it back together. Because I told you, in 2 weeks, this team has fell apart emotionally and psychologically.
I would just say this, and then we're going to get to the Chiefs-Raiders game. My guess is, because the reports come out, he's mulling and everything. I think Howie called him. I think the Eagles called him, not the other way around. Not like, hey, I've got the itch, I'm dying to play kind of thing. And for him, it's like, listen, $2 million, they're going to let me ease back into it. Like, I still love playing football. I think it's a nice story. I don't think it's the best look of all time for Philadelphia, where perhaps Howie right now is not having a great run at it on the phones. Again, maybe it's cheap help because he's not going to cost an arm and a leg, I assume. But it's a very interesting story. I'm not saying it's a bad addition. I just think it adds to some of the unevenness, if you will, right now in Philadelphia. Let's talk about the Chiefs and the Raiders. The last time BG, I think, was suited up, right, was when they did suit up for that Super Bowl against Kansas City. And Joe, I'll get right to it here. We'll talk about the Rashee Rice stuff in a minute. I love Vegas. I've known I was betting Vegas all week long, and that's exactly what I am going to do. At plus 12.5, the Raiders are one of my favorite sides on this board, and that's because the Chiefs are back. And you might think, wow, this kid's crazy. He's double-talking himself. He just said the Chiefs are back. I'm taking 12.5. Yeah, the Chiefs are back. And when the Chiefs are back, they lay double digits, and they never cover. That is exactly who they are to a T. So I look forward to this game. I look forward to this game massively. The Raiders are awful. Like, truly bad. Geno Smith is an interception machine, the likes of which we've never seen. I think Gentry needs to have a big game here for the Raiders. The Chiefs are usually stout against the run. The Chiefs are fully healthy in the wide receiver room. I love the Raiders.
You love the Raiders.
The more things point to Kansas City, the more this is a spot where this finishes like 23-20. One note, though, that I really would keep an eye on and I think can be relevant in this game, Josh Simmons is out. Seemingly a very complex situation off the field right now. It didn't hurt them against the Lions. We've seen one game boost before. I wouldn't be surprised if Max Crosby has a big day against this KC team. I think this is something like 23-20, 24-20, Kansas City. I love the Raiders to cover the 12.5.
I'm going to shock you because I'm in unison. I like the Raiders, too. Who's he throwing the ball to? Trey Tucker?
Couldn't care less.
You think he just runs it? Geno
himself might get any time.
Geno and Genty in this game.
I think Genty. So here, let me just say this quickly.
I like the front seven of Crosby in that group.
Yep.
To get to potentially Pat Mahomes. I do. I don't think he's going to be out there and survey and throw it for 3 1/4 and just dominate. We've seen the Raiders go into Arrowhead in recent years, and they have a very good history of covering.
Yep.
They just don't cover when they're at home against Pat Mahomes.
Right.
So I'm going to take the big wood. I'm going to take it. The total is 45.5, and I think that's a majority of Kansas City. No Brock Bowers. I expect Mayer to step up. Geno looked pathetic in the passing attack against Tennessee last week. Pathetic. It's so pathetic that I think he potentially breaks out with no wins.
I couldn't agree more. No, I couldn't agree more. I mean
it's
this
so pathetic.
I think Geno could have a big day, but I really think Genty could as well. His rush numbers are low. I think that's going to be something I'm a little bit interested in playing in this football game as well. But for the KC pass catchers, Joe, how do you play it?
Tucker.
Rasheed Rice. No. KC pass catcher.
KC.
Rasheed Rice back, 65.5, 67.5. Worthy's in the mid-40s.
Why
Kelsey, 40.
Why is Hollywood Brown never getting any love? He had 2 touchdowns last week.
24.5.
I know.
Number.
Why?
Rasheed Rice is back.
Yeah, but it's
that's why I'm telling you why. You don't have to. You can fade it.
But I'm saying it's the same mentality of why the guy's missed basically a year again.
Yeah.
All right, he's going to waltz in and catch 70 yards all of a sudden. If we don't think CD Lamb is going to do that for Dallas, why are we buying into, it's Rice is back? I would still go with the hot hand and Marquise Brown.
The one thing is Rice isn't coming back from injury. That's the big
But he still hasn't played football.
I know. I'm just, you're asking questions I'm giving answers to. It doesn't mean I disagree with you. I'm not interested in Rice props. I think he could have a big day for what it's worth. I'm not fading him. I'm not. I just don't think they're hanging numbers. I think the temptation is in the other guys because they've booked Rice like he's been playing for weeks. So the numbers feel light everywhere else. But again, Rasheed Rice, his sophomore season pre-injury, was averaging over 90 yards a game. I mean, he was breaking out in that sophomore year, Joe, in a big way.
So is the mentality, Mahomes is going to feed him today?
I also think the mentality from the
because everybody's been opening up with the offense. We have a new look offense. Everybody's going to eat. It's going to be now. We'll make a Rice to the family. Welcome back.
I also think the mentality though, Joe, is that Mahomes is back. I think that's the idea. His last 3 games, 270 yards against Baltimore, 4 passing touchdowns, 318 yards against Jacksonville and a touchdown, 257 against Detroit and 3 touchdowns. And I'm just talking about the passing work. I know the ground stuff's been really good. I'm just saying from why these props look like they do is because, again, I should have probably said this already at this point in the segment. They are quarterbacked by the MVP favorite.
Yes.
That's what Mahomes is right now.
Yeah, I get it. I just, again, I don't know if I buy in to – no, I get it.
You get it, man.
Hey, he gets it. He gets it. You get it, man. I understand. Mahomes looks like the player that he did when he won multiple Super Bowls. The identity is back for Kansas City. Yeah. I understand all of those aspects. The problem that I have is going to a guy that hasn't played for such a long period of time and just expecting him to hit the ground running. Yeah. Because every option is open. We'll see. I say no.
We have he drops it. Let's hit a break. Brian Thomas drops it, comes down a little lane, heads to the sideline. We need to talk some quarterbacks after the break.
The best part about it is that they're just going about handling their business. I was listening to Arvell Reese and his literally like 5-word sentences about himself and some of the things that Caleb has been talking about. The dudes are just so locked in here about just doing their job and not worrying about all the other things and awards. They know all those happen when you go win and you win decisively.
The Bobby Carpenter Show, only on SportsGrid.
Baker Mayfield is the most important player on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they are in first place right now, looking dead in the eye of home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They played a bad division. They're going to win a lot of games, and they're the best fourth quarter team, or at least the 2-minute warning team in all football. So, don't sleep on that.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Awesome and monumentous win against Oregon. Texas has saved their season. Texas has given themselves life to potentially crash the college football playoff party. For OU, a loss to Texas shouldn't be the end of your season. And yet with that remaining schedule, it feels like it could be. Books certainly pricing it that way. A lot of movement off of the Red River rivalry.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Paige or Caitlin? Who do you take and why?
I think for the WNBA, in a sense where they're moving toward more guards when it's been very post and big heavy in the past. But there's a reason why Caitlin Clark set all those records at college and then went into the WNBA and set all those records immediately. I really do think she's just a different level talent.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Back in the right here on SportsGrid, Joe. There's a couple of QBs I want to kind of zero in on. What do we expect today? And one QB who's in the spotlight a little is Cam Ward, as his head coach is fired. A decision that felt inevitable made by the Tennessee Titans to let go of Brian Callahan. And a lot of that to do with things beyond Cam Ward's play. But if Cam Ward looked great, maybe that could have saved his job. He hasn't. Now, the yardage has started to come up in the last 2 games, throwing for 220-plus in each of them. But Cam Ward has been really bad. Now, there are good throws within the film, but there's also some bad decisions. There's carelessness from the football. Against this New England defense here, what are you expecting from Cam Ward of the Titans today?
Again, he needs to develop. If this team, whoever the head coach is next year, he needs to be ready for year number 2. There's no need to run Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard 46 times in the game. I would hope that they utilize a little bit of tempo in this matchup, get Cam Ward to go through the progressions. Again, when you look at the playmakers, Ridley's out for this game, right? Mm-hmm. Who's he going to go to? I mean, it's like looking at an XFL type of roster, and that is the problem, right? He doesn't utilize the tight end as much. Gunnar Helm, you draft a guy, you don't use him. He's got 9 yards on 1 reception. That can't be. If Cam Ward is going to be an NFL quarterback, you open up the playbook, you allow him to read coverage, you take the good, the bad, and the ugly. Wins or losses are insignificant right now. You need to get him developed. Now, I know this staff will think that in their minds we have a chance to win it against New England, and Vrabel's coming back home. He's going to look to pound them today, especially with Drake May and knowing what they were able to do against New Orleans last week. Kayshon Boutte blew through his number coming back home to the Bayou. I expect Drake May to have a big performance, but again, what are they going to take away? They're going to take away the deep ball, so everything else is going to be underneath. He has to be patient today. I would take the points just because, again, I believe New England should be a 7.5, 8-point favorite based off the body of work, but it is back-to-back road games, and I think everybody's going to hammer New England because Vrabel coming home. I'm inclined to take the points here.
So this is a side where I don't mind anyone playing Tennessee in this game, but I'm not running to do so, and those 7s are largely gone, down to 6.5 here in this spot. against the Patriots team that is on a third straight road game, but I think the Vrabel back in Tennessee factor should keep them steady and focused. And the other thing is getting in front of right now a quarterback with a hot hand, and that's exactly what Drake May is, Joe. Drake May last week with 3 passing touchdowns, multiple to your guy Kayshon Boutte, which you people he would be in the mix heading back to the Bayou. Drake May's got a 100-plus passer rating now in every single game since, following week number 1. He is playing like a top 5 quarterback in the league right now, and we've seen these year 2 leaps, and it feels like Drake May is making one here, Joe.
Yeah, he is. Again, I didn't think he would be one of the elites. I thought it was Caleb and obviously Jaden Daniels.
I do think there's room for multiple from this class.
No, there is.
So many of them.
This wide receiver core is slowly developing into becoming above average. I will say that. If you can get Kayshon Boutte to be the player that he was, or at least 90% before the issues off the field and potentially him coming out of LSU with Stephon Diggs, the veteran, they have competent wide receiver play, right? And now you see the tight ends. Hunter Henry is always a good option for Drake May. Again, this team has an identity right now. They're building confidence. They got back-to-back road wins. The win in Buffalo elevated this team in the belief that they could be a playoff contender. And Drake May has slowly become that leader, right?
Right.
That quiet confidence right now is developing. I want to say I don't want to utilize Mac Jones, but when Mac Jones had success in New England, it's similar to the success of Drake May in year 2. And again, Vrabel has been a great addition to the staff. He's been a leader and has basically weeded out the good and the bad here.
Yeah, I think for Drake May, you have the performance against Buffalo, and it all of a sudden really, your eyes open, right? Hey, we can hang with this team.
Right.
We just beat them in their building. We got to take advantage of a soft schedule. I bet the Saints last week didn't get a cover, obviously. It was a close game, but they handled their business with a win. It's another day you need to handle your business with a win, right? We're talking sides. I don't have a strong. I guess I lean Tennessee if you can get 7, but I don't love it. I really don't. But from a postseason picture, Joe, from winning the division, right, with Buffalo and those struggles, you have to stack wins in these spots. I know it's a tough ask, third straight road game. You have to stack wins. You mentioned Caleb. Stacking wins. 3 straight after losing the first 2 games of the season. But the Bears now find themselves booked as a favorite. This is a team who I know they opened, I don't remember if they closed, but I know they opened as a dog against Minnesota, closed as a dog against Vegas and Dallas, were a dog against Washington and Detroit. They find themselves as a field goal and a half favorite here against the Bears, against the Saints, who have been a vulnerable defense.
Yeah, this should be a dominating home win for Chicago right now. And based off the performance about how they got after Jaden Daniels in the second half of the matchup, very physical, that front 7. I was impressed with that effort in primetime. But that offensive line is slowly coming together as well. I mean, they were able to run the football at ease on the game-winning drive with DeAndre Swift. I'm worried, not worried, but in this game, props-wise, I still think it should be Chicago. I can't take New Orleans on the road plus the 4.5. I would only be Chicago, but I'm saying, can we get to this 44.5? Can we get there?
So this is funny, but
how do we get there?
I was overnight going to play an under 46. I'm not kidding. I went, let me talk to Lisi about this one.
See, I have a different opinion. I think we can blow through this total.
There's a few. I'm being serious.
But how do we get there on the New Orleans? Like, is Moore going to run the football, or is he going to open it up with Rat and say, we let game on?
I think they may open it up a little bit. I do. I just think. Right now, if you're New Orleans, you're in this, again, it's frustrating as someone who's backed them a few times at some different numbers.
They didn't cover, and the total came under by a half last week.
But they have a nice little working, they look competent.
At times.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're 1-5. Draft pick's going to be great. You feel nice about the coach. There's a couple of weapons you're happy with here. I think it's a team who's, again, compare them to the Jets, right? How much better are the vibes in New Orleans compared to the Jets? I think it's a huge, huge gap. Let's talk some props here. Sunday Morning Crunch next on SportsGrid.
The best part about it is that they're just going about handling their business. I was listening to Arvell Reese and his literally like 5-word sentences about himself and some of the things that Caleb has been talking about. The dudes are just so locked in here about just doing their job and not worrying about all the other things and awards. They know all those happen when you go win and you win decisively.
The Bobby Carpenter Show, only on SportsGrid.
Baker Mayfield is the most important player on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they are in first place right now, looking dead in the eye of home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They played a bad division. They're going to win a lot of games, and they're the best fourth quarter team, or at least the 2-minute warning team in all football. So, don't sleep on that.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Awesome and monumentous win against Oregon. Texas has saved their season. Texas has given themselves life to potentially crash the college football playoff party. For OU, a loss to Texas shouldn't be the end of your season. And yet with that remaining schedule, it feels like it could be. Books certainly pricing it that way. A lot of movement off of the Red River rivalry.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Paige or Caitlin? Who do you take and why?
I think for the WNBA, in a sense where they're moving toward more guards when it's been very post and big heavy in the past. But there's a reason why Caitlin Clark set all those records at college and then went into the WNBA and set all those records immediately. I really do think she's just a different level talent.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Pro Football Today live on a Sunday morning, top of the hour. We will update you on Jags Rams. We still have the Pro Football Doctor David Chow joining us, as well as NFL insider Adam Kaplan, before we whip it around and go through every single one of these games. But Joe, it's time for us to dial in with our favorite props on this Sunday. It's the Sunday Morning Crunch. Let's have a big week here, Lisi. Let's have a big week. I think the crunch has been...
It's been overall good, but last week I was 1-2.
So then let's have a big week. I like you this week.
I like my picks this week. So let's start. So I talked about how Brian Flores wants to utilize a lot of blitzes, I think, against Jalen Hurts and the offensive line. I think that Hurts has a big day on the ground. Over 34.5 rushing for Jalen Hurts. Only had 13 yards rushing on the ground against the New York Giants. I think he breaks out today. I think the Eagles do win the matchup. Mason Taylor, who's Justin Fields going to throw to today, right? Is it going to be old man Alan Lazard? Is it going to be Breece Hall? It's going to be the kid from LSU, Jason Taylor's son, 40.5. I think he could potentially break out anytime touchdown as well, plus 290. Keep an eye out for him. I think L.A. Chargers and Colts are in for potentially a shootout. I don't think L.A. is going to be able to run the football on the front seven of Indianapolis. What does that mean? Justin Herbert coming off 264 last week against Miami. Quite ironically, Keenan Allen was held in check. He only had 24 receiving yards at 27 last week against the Dolphins. He is the go-to, 47.5. I think is light. I think he bounces back to form, potentially 70 or 80 plus. So that's my crunch.
I just want to mention, since you bring up Chargers wide receivers, one of the greatest calls in the history of the show last week, my Sell Me Something, was Brian Thomas Jr. for 100 and Latin McConkey for 100. Joe Lisi had already bet Brian Thomas Jr. and told us on the show for 90 plus. So I asked Lisi of the two receivers which he trusted more. In that moment, I thought, what a silly question. He already said he was playing Brian Thomas for 90. He stunned me when he said I preferred Ladd McConkey for 100 plus. Ladd McConkey finished with exactly 100 yards, and Brian Thomas Jr. finished with exactly 90 yards. It is the most incredible loss I've ever had, and I don't mean bad beat. I was just stunned.
It's a beautiful mind.
I don't know if it's your fault, if you were just on it. I don't know. But it was a stunning, you nailed it.
I bet Brian Thomas for 90, but that he's been struggling in the offense, and obviously with today's performance, you could see it as well. So I thought it was a stretch for him to get to 90, but still thought they had to feed him the football. But when you ask me about Ladd and him to get to 100, he is consistently the one guy in the league that Justin Herbert seems to be dialed in with, and every week he's on pace.
He also got there on the last catch of the game.
But
I'm not
look.
No. I'm not taking away credit. I'm just saying. It wasn't there until
every
it was.
week. I think Ladd McConkey's going to have a dead week.
I'm just saying the fact that you had played one of them for 90 and you were like, actually, the guy I didn't play for 90 is going to get there, and you were right. All right, so I'm
always right.
I got a couple of running backs.
Not all the time.
And then something right up Joe's alley.
All right, Ken.
Give me Saquon Barkley over 16.5 rush attempts at -130. For anybody who has this at 17.5, yes, I still like it there. I'll probably still even end up betting it there. But unlike yardage props, we're like, oh, we could hit it on one play. You have to go over to the 16.5 first before you can get through the 17.5. So I'll take the little extra juice for Saquon Barkley, who's in for a lot of carries here against Minnesota. This is the team who's allowed the 8th most rush attempts per game this season. Quinshon Judkins, another one of Lisi's guys. Give me his long rush over 18.5 at -110 against the Miami Dolphins, who have allowed 5 straight starting running backs to have a run of 20+. Judkins is tied for the league lead of runs of 30 or more yards with 3 already this season. Plus, the Browns are a favorite in a win game. Plenty of attempts coming for Judkins. Lastly, I said you'd like this one. Joe, this is a gut feel prop. More than anything.
Gut and feel.
I mean, the Dallas defense is bad. We know that's a part of it. I think there's a number of ways that you can try and attack Dallas. I think Jaden Daniels just shreds him. I think there's going to be people expecting them to run the football because of the injured wide receivers. I think somehow it's going to actually make the passing game more lethal for Washington because Dallas will have no idea who to key in on, plus the Trevon Diggs injury. I think Jaden Daniels could throw for 300 in this game.
I told you, I'm on the over. I think it's a huge breakout performance. I do feel that Saquon and Jalen Hurts are integral in the rushing attack today to get the victory on the road, so it's a great look. Hopefully we can go 6-0.
I hope so as well. I think it'd be nice. I think we would appreciate
that. We owe it to ourselves.
I think that's well said. Now, we're going to come up against a break here. And unfortunately, we have to update everybody on London. Jags-Rams.
If I see Brian Thomas, this guy.
Oh, boy. We'll be right back live on SportsGrid.
Well, the best part about it is that they're just going about handling their business. I was listening to Arvell Reese and his literally like 5-word sentences about himself and some of the things that Caleb has been talking about. The dudes are just so locked in here about just doing their job and not worrying about all of the other things and awards. They know all those happen when you go win and you win decisively.
The Bobby Carpenter Show, only on SportsGrid.
Baker Mayfield is the most important player on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they are in first place right now, looking dead in the eye of home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They played a bad division. They're going to win a lot of games, and they're the best fourth-quarter team, or at least the 2-minute warning team in all football. So, don't sleep on that.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Awesome and monumentous win against Oregon. Texas has saved their season. Texas has given themselves life to potentially crash the college football playoff party. For OU, a loss to Texas shouldn't be the end of your season. And yet with that remaining schedule, it feels like it could be. Books certainly pricing it that way. A lot of movement off of the Red River rivalry.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Paige or Caitlin? Who do you take and why?
I think for the WNBA, in a sense where they're moving toward more guards when it's been very post and big heavy in the past. But there's a reason why Caitlin Clark set all those records at college and then went into the WNBA and set all those records immediately I really do think she's just a different level talent.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.